Alright everybody, what's going on? It's Thundershot, and oh my god did I royally screw up this session recording. Okay, so first of all, I don't know if I bumped it or my cat bumped it or what happened or if I knocked it over, whatever. Something happened to my microphone settings on my actual interface before I recorded this one, so none of the audio actually came through on the microphone on my end. So I sat there and talked while I did this hour-long session, and none of the audio came through, so I just talked like a moron for no reason, and it didn't save any of it. And then on top of that, I also forgot to turn on my game audio, so that's gone. So we're going to be hearing some of that good old-fashioned generic YouTube music in the background for this session. Now, I'll probably only get 2 to 3 parts out of this session as a whole, so just endure it for a little while, guys. We'll be back. I don't think I do any races in this one. But anyways, I'm going to explain to you guys what I'm doing right now. So we're both going to kind of remember what I was doing during this one together. But anyways, so as you can see now, I'm taking a certain Chao and I'm running them up to the Hero Garden. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm splitting them up because as you can see, I think I brought Viagra up here. Yeah, I brought Viagra up here already. This is Brock. He's going to be my power guy. And I'm going to go get a couple others. So if you haven't noticed already, I kind of said it already. I wanted to get one Chao of every type. Now I had Shadow was running, Soul is flying, Viagra is stamina, Phelps is swimming, Brock is power. And that's all of them. So if I grab all of these guys, and I'm going to grab BooBEES also, but I'll get more into that later. But if I grab all of these guys and take them up there, I want to evolve them in the stats they're good at. So like I said, I just listed all of them. Those are all the ones who have A stats in their respective categories. And I want to make them good at that, and I want them to evolve so they too get the S stat. Just like I evolved Shadow to be a running type, so he has an S in running, and I evolved Soul to be a flying type, so he has an S in flying. I want all of these guys to also get S ranks in their respective stats. And my reasoning for doing this is because I want to make an all-S Chao. Now, for those of you who are new to the Chao Garden, you may be wondering, what the hell are you talking about? Well, one thing I don't think I've mentioned yet is Chao can actually breed together. Once Chao reaches a certain age, or if you buy a certain fruit to feed them, Chao can breed together. And then they can make a new Chao, and that Chao will probably have, that Chao will have a mix of both their current and past grades. So for example, even though Shadow has an S in running now, because he had an A in running when he was born, the baby Chao might get either an S or an A in running. Not to mention whoever he breeds with, it could also get whatever their running status. So if they also had an A in running, then you get it. It's kind of complicated. I might link you to a chart, but it's that's how the whole genetics things meshes up. Is because Shadow has an S in running and the other Chao has an A in running, and it's like a 1/4 chance that he would get the S. But anyways, yeah, it's complicated stuff. I'll go into it more when I'm actually doing it. But that's the explanation. I want to breed all my Chao together, and I want them to all make baby Chaos, and then I'm going to breed those baby Chaos together, and then eventually I want a Chao who has an S rank in every single stat, and I want to raise him to be the best Chao ever and win all the races and kick all the ass. So that's my goal. That's where I'm going with this one. But first things first, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. I have to evolve these guys first. So BooBEES is not going to be a part of the whole all-S Chao breeding thing that I'm running now. You guys voted, actually, and I didn't know it at the time of recording this session, but you guys voted, and you guys voted that we make BooBEES our current star. So while I'm doing all this stuff, while I'm breeding the Chao and all that stuff, we're going to take breaks. Basically, I'm going to be going back and forth between doing races and karate tournaments with BooBEES and trying to breed the all-S Chao I want, because breeding the all-S Chao is going to take some time. So while we have that, we may as well go ahead and win all the races and do all that stuff now with BooBEES, and then once we get, and this is way down the road, it's going to take a long time for me to do this, but once we get our all-S Chao way down the road in the future, then we'll go back and we'll do all the races again, except we'll completely demolish everything, because having a Chao who has an S stat and everything, he wins everything so fast and so hard, it's crazy. But that's my goal. That's what I want to do with the Chao Garden. So that's going to lay it out for here. I'm going to cut right here because I think I'm about to go get Chao drives with tails or Chaos drives with tails, and I will be right back. Okay, so we're back. And what we're doing now is I'm actually going to go through the Chao one at a time, and just like I did with Shadow, just like I did with Soul, I'm going to make them good at one specific thing so that way they evolve into that thing. Now, with Shadow and Soul, if you remember, I wanted them to be good. I wanted them to beat all the beginner races to start. So I gave them a bunch of animals, and I gave them a bunch of other Chao drives to make sure they were all around good enough to win the races. And then after that, what I had to do is I had to come in with the skeleton dog and the half fish, and I had to get rid of all their animal parts because I didn't feel like having animal parts on them. And once I got rid of all their animal parts, then I had to give them Chao drives to their respective stat. Like I had to give Shadow a bunch of running Chao drives to make sure he evolved into a running type. Luckily, I didn't want to win any races with these guys right away, so I didn't give them any animals that screw up the way they look, and I didn't give them any Chao drives to throw off what their type they might evolve into might be. So all I have to do now is I have to go out into a level, get one Chao drive, or one Chaos drive, one type anyways, I should say, bring it back, give it to them, do the glitch, make sure, as long as they hit like level 5 or so, then at that point it's basically guaranteed that they're going to evolve into the type I want them to evolve into. So after I set all this stuff up, and lay it all down, like BooBEES is going to be a running type, because if BooBEES gets a B in running, then he officially has a B in every stat, except I think Stamina's a D, which isn't a big deal. So he'll have a B in everything, and then also running is what you want to be the highest, and if he was dragging ass and running, if his running was a C, he wouldn't be able to compete nearly as well. So we're going to make BooBEES a running type. And I think I'm going to try to keep him as a neutral running type, although I haven't completely made up my mind yet on that, I don't think. Well, no, I take that back. I have to keep him neutral, because if we're raising him to win all the races, I mentioned it before, but there's hero races and there's dark races. And in dark races, hero Chao can't compete, and of course vice versa. In hero races, dark Chao can't compete. However, neutral Chao, if you evolve them neutrally, can do whatever the hell they want. So I'm gonna try to keep him as a neutral Chao. He doesn't evolve this session, but I'm gonna try to keep him as a neutral Chao. And then from there, we'll move on. And after he evolves, then I'll give him all the stats he wants, and I'll up him up a bunch, and then we'll go ahead and we'll go kick the ass of all the karate and races and stuff like that. But yeah, so for the next little bit, I'm just going to be getting one set of Chao drives or Chaos drives at a time, making sure that the Chao I want to evolve into go into the right thing. And I need to give Brock power. He needs to be power, but he is such a new baby Chao, I could actually afford to wait a little while before giving him all of his power stuff. And then Viagra, being stamina, doesn't need anything, so I can almost ignore him entirely. Phelps, on the other hand, does need swimming stuff just to make sure he evolves into a swimming type. And then after that, we're all set. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and cut again. And if I remember right, I know what I do next. So I'll be right back as soon as I figure that out. Okay, so I thought BooBEES may have been leaning a little bit too far towards the hero side. So I came in here with Shadow to darken him up. And while I'm trying to make him back to a neutral Chao, I say darken him up. I'm not going to make him dark, I'm trying to make him neutral. But while I'm trying to make him to a neutral Chao, he pulls out his coloring book. And I think I may have shown this off one time before, or his coloring set, excuse me. And he colors like pizza or some weird thing like that. It's pizza or spaghetti. I don't know why I think food when I look at this, but I really have no idea what else it could be. Some kind of like awkward, horribly made cake. I don't know what they're drawing. Maybe it's something in Japan that people would immediately recognize. But what is that? It looks like pizza with a little scooper underneath it. That's my only guess, but BooBEES, you're weirdo. Maybe it's a cheeseburger with stuff on top. I don't know. I don't know why I only think food, but it could be a bird's nest with a bunch of bloody eggs in it, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, but what I'm doing here is I'm actually going to go back to the neutral garden, where who all stays there? Hero, Soul, Shadow, and Thud, I think, are the only ones in here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move Thud. Since I got Brock, Thud was going to be my power guy. But he had a B in power, which kind of sucks. But Thud was going to be my power guy. But since I got Brock, and Brock had an A in power, I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and take him and move him down to the Hell Garden, or the Dark Garden, where we will forget about him forever. Oh, no, I tell you what. I think I was going to ask you guys, like, if you guys had any preference at all, because Thud, his stats are awful. He's not going to be good at races. He's not going to be good at karate. So if you wanted me to do anything specific with him, like, I guess appearance-wise is really the only way we can go with it, because he's not going to be good in races or anything like that. But I was going to let you guys just do whatever you want with Thud. Just tell me what to do with Thud, and I'll do it. I'm not going to abuse him. I'm not going to beat him up. That's the only thing I'm not going to do. But if you want me to try to, like, I don't know, mess with him appearance-wise, he's a little too dark for me to make him look like Tails. Otherwise, I would try that. I think you need, like, a yellow Chao to make him look like Tails, but I was going to try. Oh, also, someone asked me a while back if I was going to be going through all the character Chao, and I will not be going through all of them. Whichever ones I get to are the ones I get to, but I will not be going through every single character Chao, no. I might shoot for it in the future, maybe if I get the eggs or something, but as of right now, I've kind of laid out my plans for what I would like to be doing. Oh, I tell you what, maybe. Oh, Phelps was napping, so I was supposed to move Phelps to the Hero Garden, but he was napping, and he's still napping, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to wait it out. We're just going to wait for Phelps to wake up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, and I'm pretty sure Phelps is, I'm like 99% sure Phelps is about to wake up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab him, and then I think, I don't know if I'm going to, I have a special stuff planned for Phelps, and I don't know if I do it here, or if I do another segment, and then, it's not even to Chao Garden. It says there's not a lot you can do, but I don't know if I do it here, if I do it at another part, and then come back to it. But there we go, he's waking up. You can pick them up when they're sleeping. You can pet them when they're sleeping. They don't like it. I don't think he was going to jump and do a little happy dance, but I cut him off. I don't think it like saddens them overall, but they will be pissed. If you pet them or pick them up while they're sleeping, they'll get this like pissed off, like their ball will turn into a weird tornado thing. And they hate it. They absolutely hate it. So that's why I don't pick them up. I don't know if it actually like affects them overall, or just the moment you pick them up, they're pissed for a little while and then they go back to sleep. But if they're sleeping, I just let them sleep. That's usually how I play it out. Same thing, if you throw them, they'll get tornado-y pissed off. You can run up, you can kick them while they're sleeping. If you wake them up from a nap, they're not going to like it, though, bottom line. And some people are like, abuse the Chao, and that's never been my thing. Like, I've done it before. I didn't know what I was doing exactly at the time, because when I very first got the Chao Garden, I thought the only way to make dark Chao was to abuse them. Just abuse regular Chao, then they would become dark. Totally not the way you're supposed to go about that. Just pet them with dark people. But yeah, I'm not gonna be mean to the Chao, I guess. Okay, I don't know where I cut last. I don't know what I left off saying. But anyways, what we're gonna pick up here is, all right. So I gotta go get Phelps, right? And Phelps is gonna need swimming chaos drives or Chao drives in order to make sure he evolves into a swimming type. Now he might evolve a little bit after some of the other people, but that's just because he was napping before I got to bring him into the garden. And if you're not in that garden, no time passes. So that's something to keep in mind. When I'm in the hero garden, time is not passing. Like, time is standing completely still in the regular Chao garden or in the dark garden. So because I'm not going to be spending a lot of time in the dark garden, the Chao in the dark garden will never ever grow. So that's something to keep in mind. Anyways, what I'm doing now is, I think I've showed it off before, but I wanted to show off how exactly I have to go get chaos drives. If you remember earlier when I did this with BooBEES, I said, okay, I got to go make BooBEES a running type. So I left and I came back with almost all green chaos drives or Chao drives. And then I had to do the glitch to give it to him. Well, I think like I said, I think I showed it off once before. But when I say I've got to go get a select type of chaos drives, like swimming as what I'm getting now, I have to look for the yellow ones. This is what I have to do. I go into either Iron Gate or Prison Lane, I think it is Tails' version. It's just whatever the first level is for the mech characters. And I go in and I blow up all the bad guys, and I only pick up the drives that work for me. Now, this is the easiest way I found to just grind for Chao drives, obviously, because you just go into a level and then you only pick the ones you like. It's not like, because sometimes if you're the hero, if you're like the running type characters, you'll jump up in the air and you'll grab the wrong one too often. And there's not nearly as many enemies in either running or treasure hunting ones. Levels, so that's something else to keep an eye out for. That's why I choose to do the mech stuff. But yeah, and then I only grab yellow ones. Now the thing is it's actually ballsy for me to go for that one. I could have died there. But the thing is that you never, it's completely random on what kind of Chao drive the robot's gonna drop. Okay, you got to keep that in mind. So sometimes, like I've had it before, where I would come in, and let's say I was looking for yellow ones. Let's say I was looking for swimming type. I could play through the entire level and get maybe like 2 swimming types. I've had that happen before, where I only got like 2 after I played through the whole level, just because I randomly didn't get any of the ones I was looking for. Oh, there we go. I got 10 or however many you can hold, and then I was out. But yeah, so I've had to go where I play through the whole level, I only get 2. I've also had it where literally my first 9 or 10 were all the color drive I wanted. It was insane. And then you can get out of there right away. But sometimes, very rarely, do you have to play through a level more than once all the way through. But it happens. But that was just kind of show you guys what I do exactly when I say, hey, I'm going to go get Chao drives. Now, if you're trying to level up a Chao for races and stuff, the fastest way is animals. I mean, I think I've shown it off before, but my city escape route where you just get all 3 Chao boxes, that's the fastest way I know of. That, or there's a way with Knuckles and Pumpkin Hill where you can get a bunch of skeleton dogs and 2-headed fish and bats and stuff like that, which is also good, but animals are by far the fastest way. So if you want to keep your Chao straight looking, like with no animal parts on them like Phelps is here, what I would recommend doing is I would honestly recommend getting animals to level him up in whatever you want to level him up in, or everything. Get animals of all kinds if you want to level him up in that, and then do the Chao glitch, or do the chaos drive glitch or whatever, because this glitch is easier to do with animals, because when you give them the animals, they don't fly away. You can just pick up the animal and drop it again right away, which makes it easier and a little bit quicker to pull off. So give him the animals anyway, and then let him level up as much as he possibly can with the animals, and then come back in later, look it up on the internet, get skeleton dogs, come back in later and just give him skeleton dogs until his animal parts go away, and then that's going to be a lot faster. Because if you're looking here, the Chao drive, it gives him 2.5, and you only see the half every other one because it'll look like 3. So it's like 2, 3, 2, 3, and that's because it's 2.5 every time. But it gives him 2.5 little points in their level, and that's okay. But it only levels them up in one thing, and it's only 2.5. Now, for most animals, you're gonna get at least 3, if not more, like 3 to 5. And whatever the main stat is. So like for some animals, like any animals with shades of blue around them, like a fox, or I believe the ram is like that, you're going to get 3 to 5 stats on whatever their main thing is. It's usually running or something like that. And then it's possible you get 1 to 2 stats in other like random stats also. So you get like flying, power, stamina, well, not stamina, anything but stamina, flying, power, running, anything like that. Also a bonus with the animal parts. The only downside of the animal is that your Chao does look like that afterwards, which sucks, but then that's when you come in and skeleton dog him. So yeah, I think that's gonna go ahead and do it for this little section. I don't know when I'm gonna cut back in, but right now I'm just giving Phelps his chaos drives. So I'll be back when something exciting happens. Okay, so we're back, and I've already messed with him a little bit, but what I wanted to do here was I wanted to do something really cool with Phelps. So I went into Pumpkin Hill and I got bats and a half-dead fish. Now, what bats do is it actually removes your Chao's, both his wings and his feet, and that's what a bat does, and I think Phelps looks cool like that. First of all, I'm putting him in a glitch. If you put a Chao in that spot right there, they'll be stuck there and they won't be able to walk away, so that's another benefit of the Hero Garden. But then I give him a half fish, and the half fish is tricky because what the half fish does is like the skeleton dog in that it will remove animal parts, which for the bat removes Chao parts, so if you give him the half fish, he could get his wings back and his legs back, and that's what I don't want. But what it does do is it gives them a little flame on their head. Now, I don't know how to make the flame permanent because I've tried. The flame goes away after a little while. I don't know. I gave him fruit, and I don't know if it's because I gave him fruit as to why the flame back. You guys could actually help me out in the comment section down below. If you know why the flame isn't permanent or how I can make the flame on his head permanent, let me know because it keeps going away after a little while, and I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong here. But I gave him a bunch of bats till he lost his wings and legs, and then I gave him a half fish. And the thing that you have to balance out here is if you give him the half fish and he gets his wings back, then you have to give him the bat again to get his wings away, and then you give him the half fish. And sometimes he might get the flame on his head and his legs back in the same go, and then you have to give him the bat and hope that he keeps the flame on his head but doesn't lose. You have to hope that he keeps the flame on his head, but he does lose his legs again. You know, it gets complicated like that. But that's something that we're going to do with Phelps. And also on top of that, there's one final thing we're going to do with him, because we're not done here. Just because he has a flame on his head, just because he doesn't have wings and feet. I mentioned a while ago, I'm rushing it now because I know I'm almost out of time. I'm sorry about that. But anyways, I told you guys a long time ago I was going to make Phelps look cool. I was going to do something different with him than I haven't done with any of the other Chao. So, what I'm going to do with him, you've already seen most of it. I gave him the bat so he lost his wings and his feet. And then, so he doesn't have wings or feet. He can still fly just the same. He can still run. As you can see, it looks like he floats now. But, and then I gave him the half fish, so now he has a flame on his head. And like I said, I think that goes away. I'll try to find out how to make it permanent, though. So now he has a flame on his head. He has no wings, no feet. And on top of all that, because I gave him the half fish and a skeleton dog, I did it earlier. I did it off camera, but I gave him a skeleton dog. He will accept items on his head. You remember that time I accidentally put an eggshell on BooBEE's head and I had to throw him to get it off? We're going to do that with Phelps, except I went into Dark Garden and I dug around with Knuckles and a skull came out. So I'm going to give him the skull, and then he's going to put it on his head, and now he's our little badass. No wings, no feet, he floats. Or crawls. He'll float when he can walk, but he floats. He can still swim, even with a flame on his head. And no legs. And he's got a skull on his head. So that's our little badass Phelps. And on top of all that, I think I want to make him a hero Chao, just to make it weird, because it's like he has a flame on his head and a skull. That screams Dark Chao, but I think I want to make him a hero Chao just to be weird about it. But that's Phelps. He's going to be our swimmer. So yeah, I think that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this session. I think I got 2 parts out of this, but I kind of compressed it down because I lost my audio and stuff like that. So But yeah, I think that's gonna go ahead and do it for this part. I want to thank all you guys for coming out. I hope you enjoyed. Tell me what you think of Phelps' new look. Tell me if you know of any ways that it's possible to make the flame on his head permanent. And I think that's going to do it. As always, I want to thank you guys for coming out. I hope you enjoyed. Next time, we start leveling up BooBEES and getting him on the right track to kick ass at all the races. I'm Thundershot, and I'm out. Peace, guys.